What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Or my last video that I made, we were working on the Subi. We got the first start, well, the secondary first start to make sure everything runs good, does what it needs to do, and we started installing some gauge pods, which, as you can see right there, they're set up in the car. And since we verified we had oil pressure in the last video, I reached out to the tuner who's going to be tuning this car, and it's going to be Anthony from D-Man Tuning up in Pensacola, Florida. And he stated that since we do have a bigger turbo on this car, he wants to run speed density or a speed density hybrid setup. So I went ahead and I put that on order, and it just finally arrived yesterday. So now we can go ahead and start installing speed density onto this car so we can get that much closer to actually tuning this thing. So here's the speed density packages that we got. It comes with the IWire speed density hybrid kit and also an AEM 3/8 fitting with an AEM 3/8 intake air temp sensor. So we can go ahead and rip this guy open. This will be a full install on how to do both of these things to run your speed density so that your tuner can actually tune this properly and make your car at least have a little more horsepower than it did before. So first things first, you need to figure out where you want to run your air intake bung. And if you have a front mount, it's a lot easier because you're going to have a lot more room. But if you do have a top mount, I have seen people in the past put it like down here. So in the directions, and obviously just kind of from doing this for a while, you know where things should be placed. And you want your intake air temp sensor as close to the throttle body as you possibly can without it being on the throttle body, because you want to have the most accurate temperature before the air enters the manifold. So you pretty much want it as close as possible here. I'm going to have it just a little bit back here shooting back. And then once we get that bung welded on, we can go ahead and fully take off all these pipes, get them Cerakoted so they stop looking like trash. The main difference between speed density and mass airflow obviously is you don't take your readings off of the mass airflow sensor anymore. You take them off of intake air temperature and your manifold, or your map sensor. And those two readings, your tuner does some math and he figures out, you know, the amount of airflow going into it off of those two numbers so that he can properly adjust your tune to make it work perfectly. The kit that I'm running is a hybrid setup, so we're still going to retain the factory MAF, and we're going to have an intake air temp sensor, and we're going to have our map. So all of those three things together is going to give the tuner a lot more flexibility to be able to tune this car a lot easier, so he has a lot more data to work with so he can tune it properly. With the FP Green Turbo and up, you're going to max out your MAF sensor, so you're going to need to run speed density anyways, most likely. And this is the best option if you're not going full rotated kit to do a hybrid setup. It gives you a lot more room to grow, so I mean in the future if we want to go to an FP Black and keep a stock location, we can, and we'll already be set up. It'll be just a couple revisions instead of retuning the whole car from scratch. So this is what we need to get figured out here. This is the 3/8 bung that this sensor threads into, and this needs to go onto the upper intercooler pipe. So I need to set this up on the intercooler pipe and trace it around with a Sharpie so that I can take it down to a performance shop so they can get this welded on correctly. I want to try to do everything in-house, but obviously I don't have a welder right now, and they're pretty expensive. So I know a dude down at Monster Performance down in Melbourne here in Florida that has a full fabrication shop as well as a performance shop, and I reached out to him and he said, yeah, for sure, it'll be $50 just to come down and get it welded on. Not an amazing price, not a horrible price, but $50 instead of, I don't know, a couple thousand for a really nice welder. Kind of a no-brainer right now. But once we get this welded on and everything re-Cerakoted, we can go ahead and wire in the speed density kit and then take our first log of the car and send it over to Anthony. Alright, so there is our little circle. So we need to go ahead and drill that out and make sure it's the width of that. And then we can take this down to Monster Performance and have them weld on that bung for me. And looking at it, I should probably get an AOS just to get rid of this. This will make it nice and clean and also help save my motor, but whatever. So there's our little hole we got to drill out, and then we'll have a nice little bung welded on there just like that. Alright, there we have it. There's our hole drilled. Our bung fits perfectly. So now we just take it down to the guy and we'll have him weld that up. And then we'll pretty much have freaking speed density on the car, man. How cool is that? Alright, let's head off to the machine shop. First, let's get a cold start for the homies. I actually listed this thing for sale not too long ago. Had a couple offers, but I don't know. I don't think I can bring myself to let it go just yet. There's a lot of things to finish on it. It's just too much fun. It sounds too good. You also can't beat the interior of a Harley truck. And with only 119,000 miles on the dash, come on. I don't even know why I listed it in the first place. Alright, so we're heading down to Monster Performance. I'll link them down in the description box below if you're in the local area and you want to get some work done. They do pretty much everything. They're a full performance shop, but I only need one thing done today, and that's to get this bung welded onto that intercooler pipe that I put back there. So let's get to some driving. Alright, and just like that, we've got it all welded up. Super clean, super easy. Now we go home, we can sandblast this and get it recoated. Make sure everything looks nice. And take a peek at the welds. Everything looks pretty good. Intake air temp sensor is going to sit right in there. So we're going to get this guy back installed. We're going to save the coating for another day. Don't have enough time to sandblast and strip everything down right now, but once we get this tuned fully on speed density, we can go ahead and rip all this stuff back out. When we start working on, you know, all the body work and all that stuff, we can get this ripped out, stripped down, and either powder coated or Cerakoted. I'm probably going to Cerakote them just because I have the color of Cerakote that I want here, and I don't have to wait on it to come in powder form. So let's get this guy back on the car, get the blow-off valve plumbed back up, all the clamps tightened down, and then we'll get into how we're going to wire this and how everything kind of runs together. Alright, so I've had a little back and forth with the company that I bought this from. When I got the part in the mail, it was not the right part. So I was going back and forth between the company, trying to get an exchange to send me the right wiring harness. So finally I got the part in the mail. We can finish up this speed density setup on this car, and we can go ahead and make everything like 99% on this engine bay. So I said earlier in this video, this kit is super simple to install. Here's the actual kit and the part number. And this kit is super simple to install. It plugs into your factory MAF sensor, pretty much just a jumper harness, and then this goes to your IAT sensor. This jumper harness right here, plug it into the MAF, then the other side, back into the MAF, and this sensor goes to your IAT. So I'm going to run it just kind of halfway for now. And that's pretty much the setup. So you have your jumper from your MAF to your actual MAF sensor harness, and then coming off your MAF sensor harness is going to be your IAT sensor. And that's going to allow your tuner to be able to run your car on hybrid speed density setup, so they can still get readings off the MAF and readings from speed density. So realistically, all there is left to do on this car is get a tune. I'm most likely going to trailer this up to Pensacola and put it on the dyno at D-Man Tuning. We're going to see how much it makes there. But for now, we're going to street tune it and just have some fun with this car. once we have fun with this car, we're going to go ahead and pretty much give it a complete makeover and just do everything I've ever wanted to on a Subaru. So that's pretty much it. I have some powder coat coming in for this in the next few days, and that's really going to be taken care of in the next video. But honestly, that's how the bay is going to look here soon. I have a few more things to clean up, like get an AOS and do all that stuff. But other than that, she's ready for a base map. She's ready to go. We need to get this thing driven, get it out, and get it cleaned up, because obviously it is absolutely disgusting and it's full of sand from the sandblaster and all the grime throughout the last like 5 months that this thing's been being built. Get a few things buttoned up in the engine bay, and it's good to go. But I think this is going to be a wrap on today's video. I appreciate every single one of you sticking around to the end of this video. It means the world to me. You guys are amazing. I'm going to wrap it up right here, but I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.